Am I the asshole for not letting my ex-husband have my deceased daughter's ashes? I am an Indian woman who came to the United States on a student's visa and met my ex-husband, Dean. My family wasn't happy about the relationship, but eventually relented when they realized we were serious about each other. I got pregnant a few months into our marriage and gave birth to our daughter, Asha. After I gave birth, I developed postpartum depression, and as a result, our marriage suffered and never really recovered. I was on antidepressants. 2 years after her birth, my ex-husband got close to his coworker, Laura, and they began a 2-year torrid affair. When he eventually got caught, he apologized for hurting my feelings, but claimed he was in love with Laura. We divorced, and I was left in the U.S. all alone without any emotional or family support. The divorce happened in 2017. We shared 50-50 custody of Asha. In February 2020, I decided to visit my family in India as my extended family had never met my daughter. The original plan was to stay in India for 3 months, but the plans changed as the world got locked down. One day, my daughter complained of uneasiness and stomach pain after she had her usual lunch. I gave her a digestive enzyme and asked her to rest. When I went to check on her in an hour, she was gone. I still don't know what happened that day, but after that moment, everything was a blur. My sister informed my ex-husband, but because borders were shut, he couldn't come to India for the rituals. I cremated my girl according to Hindu rituals and later immersed her ashes in the Ganges, as per our customs. I have refused to take any calls from my ex in the past year. I am still dealing with grief. My ex has reached out to me and wants my address to get some of her ashes. I decided to let my sister convey to him that the ashes have been disposed of as per customs. He is now furious and wants me to come back to the U.S. and give him some of her toys. I have planned on He already has some of her clothes and toys. I refuse to directly talk to him. That part of my life is over and done with. So, am I the asshole for not letting my ex-husband have my deceased daughter's ashes? To answer a few questions. 1. We were told she suffered a cardiac arrest. She was already dead when she was brought to the nearest hospital. My ex was sent all the details and the hospital documents. 2. He and his family were sent the Zoom link for the funeral. 3. He already has half of her belongings. 4. I didn't keep her ashes. It was disposed of the day after the cremation in the Ganges as per Hindu religious beliefs. 5. He was informed of all the rituals that were going to take place beforehand. He probably didn't understand them. 6. No, I was not in contact with him. My family was. 7. The reason he had no problem with me taking Asha to India was because in 2019, he took her to Russia to meet his grandparents. 8. When we left for India, it was early February. We did not realize COVID was going to be a global pandemic. 9. My ex's heritage is Russian Jewish. He did not follow his religion when we were married, and I raised her Hindu. So there is some of my answers to some of your questions. Am I the asshole for not letting my ex-husband have my deceased daughter's ashes? Am I the asshole for telling my in-laws exactly where my husband was when I was in labor? I gave birth to my son 10 weeks ago. I went through exhausting periods while I was nearing my due date. I was experiencing discomfort and wanted my husband by my side when I went into labor, but he would go out every night to hang out at his friend's place and watch football games. I suggested that he watch games at home just in case, but he was having none of it and said he had to attend game night at his brother and friend's place along with his buddies. He said they had certain, how can I describe it, rituals when watching a game, and he can't enjoy doing it at home or anywhere else. The night of our son's birth, water broke while my husband was at his buddy's place watching a game. I called him and told him to get home and take me to the hospital, and he said he was coming, but he didn't. I ended up calling my sister, she lives nearby, and she took me to the hospital. My husband showed up 2 hours later after he kept calling, asking if I was still in labor and that he was almost done watching the game. He was able to make it on time for our son's birth, but I was furious with him, mad and disappointed. He apologized and has been working on regaining my trust and respect for him after what he's done. He's otherwise very supportive and involved in our son's care. Last night, I was at my in-laws' house for dinner, and we were talking about my son's birth date. My husband started recalling what happened that night and basically started lying about driving me to the hospital, waiting and feeling stressed out and standing on his feet for so long without food or even water. I was confused. I said no. None of this was true. None of this happened, in fact. He was watching a game when I went into labor, and I wanted him to drive me to the hospital, but he didn't show up until 2 hours later. My mother-in-law, who takes no crap from anybody and whom everybody fears, lost it on him, yelling, asking him if that was true, and he kept quiet. She started berating him left and right, telling him to sit down and shut up when he stood up to argue, then told him to stand up when he was sitting arguing. Everyone was laughing at how she basically treated him as if he was a little boy in trouble. She kept saying, "Shame, shame, shame on you. This is not how I raised my children to treat their wives. Jordan, you are a disgrace, and I am disappointed because of what I heard about you." He literally swallowed every bit of his mother's berating and didn't say anything till we got home, where he went nuts, saying I made him look neglectful, a bad husband and father, by telling the family about where he was, and said I shouldn't have said anything, but I argued it wasn't okay for him to lie and play hero in front of his parents. He said I just caused a rift between him and his family and asked if I was happy now. So, am I the asshole? Should I not have said anything? I mean, all I did was tell my in-laws the truth. Would I be the asshole for refusing to stop cooking bacon in my kitchen due to my teenage daughter's vegan lifestyle? Dad here, old fart, loves his daughter to pieces, but I'm struggling to see eye to eye with my teenager and wife on this one. We have always been a meat-eating family. We live in the rural Midwest, and bacon for breakfast is pretty much a given. This year, my 14-year-old daughter decided to go vegan, and I jumped onto her support team with enthusiasm. We learned how to substitute ingredients, cook new things, try new things, and I adjusted our budget to include more expensive vegan substitutes for her. None of this has been a problem for me until recently. She saw me cooking bacon in a pan, and then I rinsed it out to load in the dishwasher. She exploded in anger. Teen years, I'm not too fussed about the anger explosion. I know she doesn't mean it. And said that was her pan for her vegan food. I was completely floored and said, "Kiddo, this here is a family pan. Older than you, it's not your pan." She asked me to purchase her a pan that she can solely use for vegan food. I didn't want her to feel weird about food, so I said sure and ordered her a few colored ones that are only for her. The reason they're colored is so it helps me remember that I am not to touch them unless I'm cooking vegan. That wasn't good enough. Now, apparently, the dishwasher is contaminated with animal product, and the fridge has bacon grease fingers on it because I eat bacon and then touch the fridge. And she's asked me and her mom to completely stop eating meat at home. I don't mean I literally touch the fridge with greasy bacon hands because I do wash my hands, but it's clearly enough that it upsets my daughter. Frankly, I'm on team hell no. Her mother is much more accommodating and strongly wants me to consider taking our daughter up on the request. My wife's reasoning is that both our parents live close so we can eat meat products there, and that she doesn't want our daughter to feel uncomfortable in the kitchen. My daughter says she is fine with cheese and butter in the fridge, but it's specifically meat products that make her feel sick. Now, I'm sorry for her, but I feel like she just needs to adapt and live side by side because I'm not going to stop eating bacon. Am I the asshole for telling my parents to pay me back my college tuition if they want a relationship? I was raised by parents who believed religiously and just culturally in rigid gender roles. Dad should work, mom should stay home with the kids. I'm the only girl and have 3 brothers. Because of their expectation, I'd stay home with the kids. They never valued my education, educational achievements, or emphasized things beyond domestic skills. I'm the second youngest. By the time I was in high school, my 2 older brothers had gone to college of their choice, with my parents fully covering tuition, books, an off-campus apartment, and other living expenses. They eventually did the same for my younger brother. I was told I was not allowed to apply for college. I did so in secret and got accepted with a partial scholarship. I didn't tell them I was moving out until a week before I left, with essentially nothing but what a few friends gave me that their parents bought them for college. I took engineering and had to work, take on debt, and struggle. My parents and I have barely spoken for years. I am married now and expecting our first child, and they asked to meet up. We met at a park, and they said they were sorry if they caused me pain, but would like a relationship now. I asked them specifically what they were sorry for. They would not elaborate and just said they wanted to move forward. I said that was not sufficient enough. In the end, I said they could prove they were sorry by forwarding me the $100,000 my degree and college expenses were, just like they did for my brothers. My mom burst into tears. My dad said I wasn't being serious, and I just left. Since then, I've been getting calls from my brothers telling me that I am the one being immature and hurtful. But I don't think so at all. So, am I the asshole for telling my parents to pay me back my college tuition if they want a relationship with me and my unborn child?